Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Friday, the 9th of January. Maithripala Sirisena elected as Sri Lanka's new president. India invites investments from expatriates as diaspora meet concludes. And Bollywood kicks off 2015 with Tevar. And now for all the details. Interior Minister Rajnath Singh called the Indian diaspora the country's indomitable spirit. Speaking to the people of Indian origin, he said India wants deeper ties with them.
Interior Minister Rajnath Singh on Friday hailed the contribution of the people of Indian origin in the country's growth. Addressing the gathering on the concluding day of the 13th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas or the Indian Diaspora Day in Western Gandhinagar, he asserted on the need to connect with the non-resident Indians for transformation of the nation.
आप जहां भी रहिए, दुनिया के जिस देश में भी रहिए, भारत के साथ आत्मिक रिश्ता बनाकर रखिएगा। यह मत सोचिएगा कि प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस के अवसर पर हम आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट करने की अपील कर रहे हैं, तो आपसे हम लोग केवल धन का ही रिश्ता नहीं रखना चाहते, बल्कि आपके साथ हम मन का रिश्ता रखना चाहते हैं। यह आपको मैं यकीन दिलाना चाहता हूं।
Singh further drew attention towards the government's flagship Make in India campaign, stating that the aim to convert the country into a manufacturing powerhouse cannot be realized without the active support of the expatriates. The three-day annual celebration, which was opened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday, has more than 4,000 delegates participating in the gathering, aimed at enhancing networking and reinforcing commercial linkages this year. Over 25 million people of Indian origin reside outside the country. The event this year also marks the centenary of India's Sarvashreshta Pravasi Bharatiya or foremost Indian diaspora member Mahatma Gandhi's return to the country from South Africa.
In what is seen as one of the major political upsets in Sri Lankan history, Maithripala Sirisena has defeated two-time President Mahinda Rajapaksa in the presidential elections. Here is a report.
Maithripala Sirisena assumed office as the 7th president of the island nation on Friday, hours after he was announced winner by the Election Commission in the polls held a day before. Outgoing President Mahinda Rajapaksa had conceded defeat in the early hours of Friday when the tide began turning against him. Rajapaksa, who held the top post from November 2005, could only manage to secure 47.6% votes, while Sirisena, who had recently defected from his camp, got 51.3% votes. Reacting to his victory, Sirisena said it is a moment of celebration for the entire country.
සියලු දෙනාටම රටේ සමස්ත පුරවැසියන්ට සතුටින් බෙදා හදා ගැනීමට අපි ඉඩ දිය යුතුයි. ඒ නිසා කිසියම් ආකාරයකින් හිංසා පීඩා කිරීමෙන් වැළකීලා ඊ타මත්ම අවිහිංසාවාදීව කරුණා සහගතව මෛත්‍රියෙන් මේ කටයුතු ඉදිරියට ගෙන යාමට සියලු දෙනාගේම සහයෝගය ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
Opposition leader and Prime Minister designate Ranil Wickremesinghe said people of Sri Lanka voted for change.
People of Sri Lanka gave a message that they want to change, and we want to fulfill their desires, aspirations.
The victory of the former health minister came as a surprise to many who had expected Rajapaksa to have an easy win. Despite facing a number of corruption and nepotism allegations, along with his party suffering setbacks in the recent local bodies elections, Rajapaksa had called for snap polls in November, expecting a fractured opposition to work in his favour.
The controversial Red Mosque and its seminary in Islamabad are waging war against the state, Pakistan police has claimed. This comes amid growing protests demanding arrest of its cleric.
A video message released by students of Red Mosque Seminary Jamia Hafza is an act of waging war against the state, Islamabad police said in a report sent to the Interior Ministry. The video, published in November by the female students, had pledged support to the Islamic State and urged its chief, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, to avenge the 2007 military raid on Red Mosque. The police report comes at a time when intelligence agencies have warned the federal government about the mosque and its cleric Abdul Aziz Ghazi having militant links. The controversial cleric is known to have close ties with the Al-Qaeda. He had also endorsed the Islamic State of Baghdadi. Ghazi had also come under criticism recently after he refused to condemn the December 16 Pakistan Taliban attack on Peshawar Army School, which killed 142 people, and claimed that the crackdown against the militia was un-Islamic. Civil society activists are currently holding protests outside the mosque demanding the arrest of Ghazi. But despite mounting evidence and pressure, the Nawaz Sharif government has refused to act against him. The Red Mosque first shot into headlines in 2006 for its militant links and anti-government rhetoric, calling to overthrow the democratic system in Pakistan. In July 2007, the then President Pervez Musharraf ordered a crackdown on the mosque, resulting in the death of nearly 150 people, mostly female students of its seminary. Abdul Rashid, the younger brother of Ghazi, was also killed during the operation, which lasted for 8 days.
The first phase of the Biswa Ijtema, the second largest Islamic congregation in the world, began in Bangladesh capital Dhaka on Friday. The event this year, however, has been overshadowed by the ongoing indefinite nationwide shutdown by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party.
Thousands of Muslim devotees assembled on the banks of Turag River on the outskirts of capital Dhaka to attend Biswa Ijtema. The three-day event began with morning prayers and a sermon led by Pakistani cleric Maulana Ehsan. Religious scholars and clerics from India, Iran and Saudi Arabia will also lead prayers and ceremonies in the coming days that will be attended by devotees from across the globe. The number of participants this year has, however, drastically reduced in the light of an indefinite transport blockade. Despite requests by various organizations and religious leaders, the BNP refused to call off its shutdown, which entered its fourth day on Friday. Biswa Ijtema, which is organized by the Tabligh Jamaat, is second in terms of attendance only to the annual Hajj pilgrimage. The first phase of Biswa Ijtema will end on Sunday. The second phase will be held from January 16th to 18th.
A full-service airline, a joint venture between India's Tata conglomerate and Singapore Airlines, will now navigate India's fiercely competitive market. Vistar, as its Sanskrit name suggests, is banking on a limitless expanse in bridging demand between business and economy travelers.
Headquartered in New Delhi, Vistara will initially operate flights to Mumbai and Ahmedabad. It brings the popular premium economy class back to the domestic airline market. Industry watchers feel frequent flying mid-level professionals will be the most enticed by the options on experience. The strong branding justifying fares higher than those of full-service competitors Jet Airways and state-owned Air India.
People who want to travel in comfort would definitely opt for it. And the number of seats that will be available also in this particular category, I feel it's going to be very, very limited. We were dying to see a full-service airline come into effect, and it's only much relief for the travelers, both on holiday or for professional reasons, people who travel, that you have something like Vistara coming in.
The airline, which promises luxurious premium economy, will operate 87 weekly flights to and from Delhi. It plans to scale up to 300 flights in 4 years. But experts voice caution for Vistara's expansive plans. With high state taxes making jet fuel the costliest in Asia, keeping costs low on the back end and competitive pricing will be fundamental to the bottom line.
Basically, if the consumer gets an air ticket at a cheaper price, then they will certainly go for that cheaper price. Because no flight in India, it will be more than 2.5 hours.
This long-awaited joint venture also plans to tap the international market if the Indian government permits it.
A Pakistan court has granted bail to militant leader Zakiur Rahman Lakhvi in an abduction case. His counsel claimed that Lakhvi, the mastermind of 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, was wrongly arrested in the 6-year-old case after pressure from India. An anti-terrorism court had last month granted him bail in the Mumbai attacks case following delay in the trial. But he was taken into detention under the Maintenance of Public Order Act and later was booked in the kidnapping case. Lakhvi had got his detention suspended last week. However, the Supreme Court had earlier this week overturned the lower court verdict. Even though Lakhvi has been granted bail, it is unlikely that he will be able to leave the jail as he is still detained under the Maintenance of Public Order Act. Whatever he does makes headlines. After a successful innings on the cricketing ground and at the party front, Pakistan's most favourite politician garnered news yet again. Take a look.
Imran Khan loves to lead, be it his cricketing squad or his Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PTI party. The 62-year-old took time off from his anti-government protests and broke the news about his impending marriage to former BBC anchor Reham Khan on Thursday, leaving his party workers jubilant. Khan, who had this week hinted at tying the knot at his residence in outskirts of Islamabad, put an end to the speculations after a private ceremony. PTI members were happy at the marriage of their party supremo.
मैं समझता हूं कि ये नए साल के लिए और पूरे मुल्क के लिए और पूरी कौम के लिए और पाकिस्तान तहरीक इंसाफ के कारकुनों के लिए बहुत बड़ी खुशखबरी है.
Khan had rumour mills running over his marriage to a former BBC anchor Reham Khan after reports surfaced of their secret nuptial on New Year's Eve. 41-year-old Reham, who is currently working with a Pakistan-based news channel, was a weather presenter with the BBC before. Pakistan's political circuit was abuzz with the latest development too.
अल्लाह करे और भी 2-4 बच्चे उनके हों, यहाँ से लोकल पाकिस्तानी बच्चे और मियाँ बीबी खुशी से रहें. और मैं ये समझता हूँ इसको हमें सियासी एक रंग नहीं देना चाहिए क्योंकि ये जो उन्होंने शादी किया है, आई एश्योर यू इसमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल वायलेशन कोई नहीं है.
Khan, who was earlier married to Jemima Goldsmith, got divorced in 2004. The duo have 2 sons. Khan, who led the Pakistani team that won the Cricket World Cup home in 1992, now heads one of the country's major opposition parties, the PTI.
After a profitable stint at the box office last year, Bollywood is set to open 2015 with some attitude. And if the film has one of the 2 biggest current heartthrobs, stakes surely run high.
They have been one of the biggest talked about stars last year, and they plan to be no less famous this time too. Current sensations and one of the biggest starheads on the block, Arjun Kapoor and Sonakshi Sinha, are set to open the 2015 box office with Tevar. The duo took the fans in entertainment capital Mumbai by storm, giving a sneak peek into their sensational and newest on-screen pairing. Sinha and Kapoor also travelled to Western Ahmedabad to promote their film. The leading lady said she loved playing a small-town character.
एक बहुत ही रियलिस्टिक और बहुत ही रिलेटेबल कैरेक्टर है. आप जब फिल्म देखोगे तो आपको कहीं ना कहीं लगेगा कि आप ऐसी कैरेक्टर से कहीं मिल चुके हो. She's a girl next door.
In capital New Delhi, co-actor Manoj Bajpayee, producer Sanjay Kapoor and director Amit Sharma also joined in. Bajpayee said despite playing negative, his role was very nice.
बहुत ही बच्चा रोमांटिक आदमी है और वहाँ का बाहुबली भी है मथुरा का, तो बहुत ही अच्छे कंट्रास्ट हैं उसकी पर्सनालिटी में जो कि आपको बहुत मजा आएगा देखने में.
Kapoor, who dons the role of a kabaddi player, added that the entertainment quotient of the film was different.
There is a journey, there are emotions, there are characters, there's a story. So at some level there are layers in the film. Even though there is an entertaining format, there are layers that you will realize when you go and see the film. And for me that is what makes Tevar a little above the cut of just the regular entertaining film.
Tevar is a remake of 2003 Telugu film Okadu. It is based on the journey of a kabaddi champion Pintu who helps Radhika to flee from the clutches of faction leader Vijayendra Singh. Pintu finds himself caught in his love for Radhika and the fight against Vijayendra who wants to shatter his sports career. The film song dedicated to superstar Salman Khan has already climbed the charts.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. Maithripala Sirisena elected as Sri Lanka's new president. India invites investments from expatriates as diaspora meet concludes. And Bollywood kicks off 2015 with Tevar. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.